Cassandra Olson here from sexytoyoursoul.com, and today I'm very excited to be interviewing Stephanie Kimball. She is an intimate photography and portraiture, offers intimate photography and portraiture for women via the poutingroom.com. And I'm very excited because I've had a great experience with Stephanie. Today she's going to share how to gain confidence from your boudoir photography shoot. And so we're both a little nervous, but that's okay. We're live. And so I have a nice list of questions for her, and I'm going to share a little bit about my experience as well. So thank you for joining me today here.
Thanks for having me. It's so good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. So tell me a little bit about your background and how you got into this type of photography.
So my why is I started with maternity photography, and so when women were pregnant, I'd have them come and wear really pretty outfits, lingerie, and when they left, they felt really beautiful. And I thought, I should do this for women who aren't pregnant, because I think we're really hard on ourselves as women, and to have that space where you can feel empowered and just a safe place to feel like, you know what, I am beautiful regardless of any external components, and so that's why I do what I do.
That's so exciting. So you kind of found your way into this niche.
I did.
Yeah.
It was about 10 years ago, so there weren't a lot of people doing it. And I just love when women come out of their shell and their vulnerability, and allowing me to capture that, and just really trust in me to capture them for who they are, you know?
So I've seen it growing pretty quickly in terms of recognition in the photography world of boudoir photography and intimate photography. And so one of the things, you know, my background tends to be in women's health coaching, tends to be in fitness and yoga. And for me, I did the shoot with you. So I've had the experience, and we'll talk about that later. But what do you think women are looking for when they come to you? And what are some of the occasions? What are some of the reasons why they're seeking out this type of photography?
So a lot of women come, the precipitous is a gift. So groom's gift, an anniversary, a birthday. So they're doing it for someone else. However, once they come and they're there, the piece is really for themselves. And the imagery, I think, is it's beautiful, and you know, I capture them in a way that perhaps they don't always see themselves, and it's awesome. But it's kind of, that's an aside. It's more the experience and how they feel on the inside, and that they've given themselves permission to do this and to celebrate who they are. And the takeaway is that feeling. And so the images, whether it's an album or prints, I think can act as an emotional button to kind of maybe bring them back to that place, to feel when they felt, you know what, I feel empowered, and I'm sexy, and I'm strong, and I'm fierce, and you know, I might not be where society says I should be. You know, we all have areas that we love or don't love so much about ourselves, but we're perfect. We can be perfect internally, and if you can express that, I think that's huge.
I remember you asking me, what's the one area of your body that you really love?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a hard question.
It's a really hard question for a lot of women, because I think we're taught not to be vain. Right? So at the Pouting Room, I say, no, I want you to tap into that. So it could be anything. It could be your hair. It could be your collarbone, your eyes, your smile. It doesn't have to be, and you know, and then I ask as well, I think you remember, like, well, what does he love about you? And it's usually, well, he likes my boobs or my butt. Okay, all right, yeah. And we can capture that as well. But I think it is a hard question for women, because you're like, is it okay to love something about myself? And it is.
Something superficial even.
Right. And you know, and that's the thing. I think it's more than that, and it goes deeper than that. And the experience is, that's why you don't have to be, you know, societal pressures of social media says you need to be this way or that way. I wish I was 20 pounds less, or I wish I had smaller boobs, bigger boobs. It doesn't matter. it's how you feel core confidence-wise inside. And you can really tell when a woman is able to tap into that, and I really do my best to make people feel comfortable.
Yeah.
To pull that out of them. And when I see that, it just radiates on the, through the camera.
What does it look like, or what does it feel like when someone comes in versus, like, what's the turning point? Like, can you see it happening when people start to feel more confident?
Shift?
Yeah.
So when people come, I do have a stylist, so they get their hair and makeup done. So they're sitting and getting pampered for a good hour and a half or so. And so they can relax. I offer a glass of champagne if they'd like to kind of take the edge off, because most people are nervous. It is something outside the box. I'm nervous doing this, and I have clothes on. So it can be a little nerve-wracking. But once that all kind of comes together and they see their look, it's kind of like when you're having a really good hair day or your makeup comes out great and you're like, I look freaking hot. If you can tap into that fierceness and, you know what, yes, I am a beautiful woman. And it's okay to be proud to feel good about yourselves. So I think that, and, the first 5 minutes of the shoot is typically, I think probably, and you could probably speak for this better than I can, although I have had my pictures taken, which I think is huge and important for any photographer to do who does this. It's a little, unnerving, but I think I try my best to really make people feel comfortable and at ease and to, you know what, just, you got this. You're beautiful. And so then I can see it and, tapping in and the way I will talk to them and try to pull certain things out and help them feel comfortable. And by the end, they're like, woohoo! I mean, a lot of them will tell me, I want to come back and do this again. Or at the end, the best compliment for me is they'll say, you know what, I can't remember the last time I felt this beautiful. Mm-hmm. And they, and it's amazing. For me, it's why I do what I do, and that it carries through with them. Days, weeks, months later, I'll get messages from women. And to me, that makes it all worth why I do what I do.
Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah, so my experience with Steph, I do, like, I was nervous, obviously, like anyone would be, because I've never done any photography like that previously. And so I felt really comfortable really fast with you. So how do you find the right person to photograph you? Like, I did a lot of research, people, before I'm just going to go do a photo shoot like this. And so I know what I was looking for, but how do you, as a photographer from that background, from that professional side, what should we be looking for? Obviously, if you're in Massachusetts or New Hampshire or New England, I could say go to the Pouting room. But if they're, in another state, how do they start culling down the photographers?
So I would say you need to have a dialogue. First, you got to look at their imagery, and does it speak to you? Do you like how they shoot, the way they shoot? And then it's have a conversation. They should be doing a consult with you. In person is best, but I know sometimes distance that can be difficult, but on the phone, and you need to feel comfortable, and you need to ask them, if they don't already say, why they do what they do, and to feel comfortable with that. Mm-hmm. So I think asking those questions is really important, as well as, things like retouching. Mm-hmm. I come from the philosophy of I will help smooth out skin, but I'm not going to alter your body in any other way, because that's not why I do what I do. I'm going to present the best version of you with angles and lighting, so that your photographer should do that. But I'm not going to Photoshop you, because mm-hmm. if the point in doing this is to feel good about ourselves and have good self-esteem, you don't want to look back in the pictures and be like, well, that's not me, because that defeats the whole purpose of us feeling good about ourselves.
Yeah, that was one thing that was big for me, was I really wanted to look like myself, and I feel like mission accomplished, and it was just this, I don't know even how to say it. It was like the part of myself I didn't even know existed, or that did exist, but I've never seen it or captured it prior in a visual format.
And sometimes I think it's good to have a photographer that you can then see how other people see you. Mm-hmm. So I think really looking at their work, and if it speaks to you, that's huge. And then again, the personality, because everybody doesn't always like everybody. You don't always have a good feeling with everyone.
Mhm.
So you really need to do that, and make sure you're both on the same page with what you want, what you're looking to accomplish. Is you really need to do that, and make sure that they're there to help you every step of the way. They give you guidance, because that's huge. You don't, regular women aren't models. We're not supermodels. So you don't know what to do, nor should you know what to do. So to have a photographer that can help you with that is, I think, what you should look for as well.
Yeah, I remember just being really sore.
Yeah.
I was telling Stephanie earlier, like I went home, my back was so sore. You're gonna have to stick your butt out a lot, like arch your back. And I was just not
Prepared for
prepared.
that.
Like you think
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I'm totally capable, but you're gonna be sore the next day. It's just different movements, different action of the body that you're not used to, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. My motto is, if it doesn't hurt, it doesn't look good. So not through the whole thing, but yeah, it's a lot of overemphasis, and it's not always organic. You see photo shoots and you're like, oh, and the models are just moving, and there's some of that, but a lot of it is not as free flowing.
Posed posture,
Yes.
that kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So that there were posing moments, and then I feel like the other thing you were really good at is capturing very natural moments too. So it wasn't just like stand here, do this. Like you're like, how do you feel? Like and bringing that out. And there was a collaboration. That's another thing I will say with you. I felt like it was collaborative as opposed to you just dictating what I would do, if that made sense.
Right, and I think
Yeah.
that's important too, is a photographer that's like, so what does sexy mean to you? Because what sexy means to you and what it means to me and what it means to this person could be three completely different things. So if I do my best to kind of like ascertain that with you and ask questions, like with a questionnaire, who's a famous person that you think is sexy? Jennifer Aniston, Kim Kardashian, two completely different women on a scale, both sexy but in their own way. So knowing that as a photographer, I think then I can capture images that speak to you and that you're going to love. Like, do you like dark and moody? Do you like light and airy, romantic? Do you like edgy? It's completely different for everyone. And I think that's important as well, that a photographer asks you those questions.
It seems like I said, like the collaboration is very important.
Absolutely.
It was for
Yeah.
me anyway. Like I felt totally like involved in the process as opposed to like just do this and you'll see what's happening later. Like we were giggling, we were looking at pictures, we were saying, oh, this is really cute, or like, okay, what do you think about this, and getting some feedback. And should people expect that kind of like turning around of the camera and like say, here's what it looks like? That kind of thing?
Yes, I do that occasionally. It depends on each individual person.
Okay.
Sometimes I think it will help boost someone's confidence when they are really nervous. I'll show them, like, look how beautiful you are. And sometimes there's some women, they're like, no, I don't want to see. I want to wait until the final product. So I gauge that based on each personality.
Right.
But yeah, I think sometimes that can be very helpful, because you don't know, right? You're standing there and you're like, oh God, just like, all of us, people take selfies with their phones or pictures, and you're like, I have to see that before you post it.
And then delete it.
Right, no, I don't like that. Do it again. So sometimes it's helpful to do that as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's kind of that mirror, turning it around and saying, here's what you're looking
Right,
at.
and
Do you
then
like it?
and then it will sometimes help boost the, like, oh my God, wow, I didn't realize. Yeah, I look beautiful. I'm like, you do.
And keep going.
Yeah, let's keep it going.
Oh, that's so awesome. And so I'm going to get into some more like philosophical questions, if you don't mind. So for women, like I think, your voice in this has been, you want to empower women. Tell me a little bit more about that and what you, like how you feel your work is empowering women, and what your goals are around that. You have a daughter, so I'm sure that's a huge reflective portion of your life.
Right. So I think the impact of social media and just media in general, and the messages that are sent out there about, what is beauty, and how do I attain beauty? And a lot of it is completely unrealistic. And so we're trying to attain goals that you're likely not going to gain. And having a daughter myself and seeing this, and having confidence about yourself, and that really impacts your children. And to be like, you know what, no, I might not look like a supermodel, but I'm still beautiful, and in my own way I'm beautiful. And to have women especially that come and are really nervous, and I can tell, you know, some women really like, well, I really don't feel like I'm beautiful. And when I see that come out of them, and some, you know, a lot of them, they hug me and they'll get teary-eyed, and that is everything to me. You know, just, we're just so hard on ourselves as women, and it's every shape, size is beautiful. It's just tapping into that and being confident about it and being like, you know what, I am who I am, and you can love me for who I am, or you don't have to, but that's your problem and not mine. You know,
When you ask people what their favorite feature about themselves is, what do you hear most often?
they all look at me and go, they have a hard time.
I didn't know if there would be one, like, it's just the eye. Like, the eye seems very, like, oh, everyone loves the eyes. You know what I mean? Like, because they're the windows to the soul, and it's poetic, and, or do people like, I love my butt, you know, like that kind of thing?
Some people are like, oh, I love my legs, or people, you know, I've worked out really hard and I really like how my stomach looks, or, but I've had women like, you know, say like my neck or my collarbone or my back, my hair. Smile, yeah, and it's sad to me when I ask that question. It's harder, you know, when I do in-person consults, I can obviously see their expression and their body language versus on the phone, but you can feel it on the phone as well. As I feel sad when you don't have one feature that you love. Like, it's okay. Like, and I tell them, I go, you have complete permission in the pouting room to love yourself. I want you to love yourself. Like, I want you to tap into that fierceness and I am woman, hear me roar, you know?
Yeah.
So it's different for most people, but a lot of women have a hard time saying it out loud. And I think maybe even saying it out loud.
Declaring it, right?
Is hard.
It's crazy to me, but it's true.
Right. And I think, and we're always our most worst critics, right? We're always very critical of ourselves, and what we see versus what other people see us as can be completely different. Which is why I feel like it's people to be able to see my imagery and how I view them and how they are on the camera can be completely different from their self-concept of who they are and how they view themselves. And they'll be like, wow, I didn't, you know, wow. And that I love.
Yeah, I think that would be very special for sure. Oh my gosh. So, okay. So, tell me about vulnerability then. Like, so they're putting themselves in a huge place of vulnerability. And I think that's one of the beautiful things as women that we're able to do in some way, shape, or form. But I think we've connected to vulnerability, but disconnected from it, if that makes sense. Like, tell me about what your take on this is, because you see people in a very vulnerable situation.
Right. So most women would be like, you know what, I'm really nervous. I can't even believe I made the call to call you, and okay, I'm gonna do this. And it's you know, I mean, most people they have a hard time having their picture taken with clothes on, never mind with not a lot of clothes on. And you don't have to do it with no clothes on either. You can wear a beautiful dress and capture you that way as well. But I feel honored that people entrust in me, that, you know, that they can be so vulnerable, and it's really a judgment-free zone where, you know, I really try to pull out their personalities and have them try to express that and feel comfortable. I don't know. I was a social worker before, so I feel like maybe that might have helped.
I think that helps
a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm not doing what I went to school for originally, but I'm still giving back. So maybe that's why people might feel a little more comfortable with me than maybe perhaps someone else. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I try to be real.
Right. I think that helps a lot. It helped me as we went through it. You know, I didn't feel like I felt, and I hope that if you do it, you'll feel the same way. Like I didn't feel judged, like you said. It's like not a judging place. I felt like it was very much a place of self-love, and that I could be vulnerable. And I'm like, I have no idea what this angle of my body is gonna look like.
Right? Yeah.
Like it was like, I'm trusting you that you're gonna make it as best it can appeal to,
Absolutely.
you know, the camera.
And I think a lot of clients feel that way. They're like, oh my God, Stephanie, this can't possibly look good. This is completely uncomfortable. And I feel like this is so contrived. And then I'll show them, I'm like, oh, wow. I'll say, see? Like you have to trust. You just have to trust in the process. But I mean, it is hard for, you know, it's a completely different type of vulnerability. So it's, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if, you know, my clients, I get a lot of good feedback that it's like, they just feel so good and they're so glad that they did it.
Do you ever hear anyone says they wish they didn't
No,
do it?
I've never ever had one person say that. No. And I stand by my work. And if people don't, you know, if they don't like any of the images, then they don't have to get any of it.
Right.
You know, so
but it's interesting. Like you know, it's that very. It's not something we get to do a lot, and so it's like it's really cool to hear like people are like able to have a good experience, and like I love that you've never had anyone be like, nope.
Yeah, and the men, no, the gifts, they've never been like, oh my God, why'd you do this? Yeah,
Right.
no. So
What do you think? What do you think the difference in men and women is in that regard? Like, so if but I do want to hear the difference in what you perceive men and women. Um, do you think about it from the male aspect at all, or do you think about it mainly from the format of what the woman is experiencing in that moment?
I really focus more on the woman. Yeah, I mean, and I'm not a man, so I don't view a woman's body the way a man views a woman's body. So it's hard to be completely relatable from that perspective. I mean, men are very visual, so they typically, you know, women I think are more concerned with details, like, oh, well, should I wear this necklace? I go, he's not going to be looking at your necklace.
High heels?
Yeah, heels. So, but for me, it's because, like I said, the imagery is kind of like the souvenir of, for me, it's the experience for the woman. I'm going to create images that they both hopefully will love, but I care more about what's going on internally for my client than, you know, the end result. And the end result, they're always happy. I've never really had someone not happy, but for me, it's less about that. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't.
Yeah, no, I felt the same way. Like when I had my experience was that I thought it was about the gift giving process to someone else, but it was really ended up being for like a huge gift to myself, if you will. And that's hence we're here having this discussion about, you know, what it means to go through this process and see yourself in a light that is sensual or sexy or whatever word you want to use, but exemplifies the beauty that is in your soul as opposed to just the physical form. I think that's really important.
Absolutely.
Process that you're describing.
And I love when I have clients that come and do it just for themselves. That's actually my favorite client. Mm-hmm. I mean, the women that do, they do. I tell them, I tell them, yeah, you're doing this as a gift, but your takeaway is really going to be for you. Yeah. But the women that do it just for themselves, I love.
I think that's awesome. I wish I had the wherewithal to know that it could have been a gift. You know what I mean? Like I never even outside of the box thought of that. You know? So
right. And even if you don't ever show them to anyone and you just, it's for you. Because again, it's not really necessarily about the picture. It is, but it's not.
right? It's a whole experience. So let's see what else I have on my list for you. Oh, okay. We talked about the imagery and how you feel. Tell me about how you think all of this affects women's confidence. So we've kind of broached on it a little bit because we talk about, well, this is how you look, in the different angles, and you wouldn't think it would look good. But like truly, what do you think this means for a woman's confidence if she comes in and has a session with you?
Well, I think so there's different levels of confidence, right? So there's outward confidence, what you project to people that you're confident, and then there's confidence in your skills. I'm good at my job, I'm a good mom. And then there's core confidence, and that's truly how you feel about yourself. And that is the most important thing to really tap into, and that affects everything else. So I really feel doing something like this touches upon your core confidence. And if you have core confidence, it radiates into everything else that you do, right? If you can learn to love yourself, regardless of external things that are what you're told or not told, or you can just see it in someone when they have that. So that's what I think this does, or helps to touch upon, and maybe is a stepping stone. I mean, you don't transform overnight and just go from being maybe a little meek or shy to here I am. But I think it's a good stepping stone to kind of attain that and reach that, and we all should foster that, because if we're not good to ourselves and if we don't love ourselves, it affects everything else. And relationships, as a mother, as a wife, as a sister, as a daughter, all of that, it's interrelated. So I think that's what it does for core confidence.
And we were talking earlier, we were thinking about, like, just you and I, we were talking about when we're in that space of working on ourselves. Tell me a little bit more about that. Like, what I took away was we are constantly working on ourselves. And so, this can be part of your process, I think, is the way I look at it.
Absolutely, yeah. I think we're always growing and changing, and you take a few steps forward, sometimes you take a few steps back, and you learn from that, and it's huge. It affects, it's just the whole self-love piece. I think, and I think we're taught that we shouldn't foster that maybe we're being selfish if we do that, especially as women, that we put everyone else's needs first. And that's very admirable. But if you're not being good and true to yourself, it affects how you're being as those other pieces in your life. And that it's okay, and to give yourself permission to do things for you, and that it's not selfish, right? And
it is work. That's the other
it's
part.
Work,
it is
yes.
work to love yourself, and
it's not easy.
I wish I was born just like, oh, I love myself just how I am. And I think we are to some degree. I think that there's that diamond mind that, like in the Buddhist, like everything's pure, but at some point we start having to work on it because of these things that are coming in from external influences. And so, like, this to me was like an exercise in self-love. Like, I didn't even know I was getting into that, but it was really cool.
I think it becomes much deeper than people have any understanding of until they're there, and they're like, wow. And they're like, I should have done this sooner.
It's pretty profound.
Yeah, it is. And people hear like, oh, what do you do for a living? And I'm like, intimate photography. And they're like, and it's a want, it's not a need. But you know what? It should be a need. It's like basic. It's, on the scale of our needs, you need to love yourself. So in some respects, it kind of should be a need. It is a need.
It is
versus a want.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like how do we engage more women to try something like this. I think that's why we're here, is to say it might seem something intangible to you right now, or that is a little scary to you, but it's a really good experience with the right photographer, and hoping that we can connect you to the right person that will support your emotional needs through the process. Because it is like a huge, we talked about vulnerability, emotional vulnerability, physical vulnerability. It's all immersive, and so it's like this, I don't know, I feel like a flower blooming.
Yes, absolutely.
You know,
and you know, my website, is I'm sure many other boudoir photographers, is, you know, people are like, oh, well, I don't want to be shot in lingerie. And it doesn't have to be lingerie.
Yeah.
It can be a beautiful evening dress. It can be a sweater off the shoulder. It's whatever you feel beautiful and confident.
Jeans.
Anything.
Yeah.
It's just allowing yourself to be like, you know what, I'm going to do this for me. And it doesn't have to be, you know, if that's outside your comfort level, outside your box, and you don't have to do that type of outfit. I think people get scared off a little bit when they're like, oh, well, I don't want to be in my underwear.
And you're telling me you're now, like, your more recent endeavor is how to capture women very specifically, not in lingerie, in different aspects of womanhood or generational photography as well.
Yeah, I want to really kind of incorporate that, or expand what I do to include like generational mother-daughter, grandmother, mother-daughter, to have, you know, imagery that you existed, you know, especially as women, we tend to be the one with the camera, and we're never in the photographs, right? Or we're like, oh, I don't want to be in the photograph. Oh, I hate myself in pictures, or whatever our excuses. We all have excuses. But it's a legacy. So I really want to try to kind of move more into that as well, or include that, that we leave legacies for our family and beautiful imagery of ourselves. Yeah, so
who would have thought we would be talking about like your family legacy from the title of our post? But it's true. It's like, how do we really embrace each generation and show them the self-love and teach them self-confidence as women? I feel like it's huge, and it's something that is, like you said, to be admired. So when you're doing all this, I imagine there's a tremendous amount of your own work that you're doing, like in terms of self-work. Do you want to share anything about like what you're working on right now, beyond the, you know, behind the camera, if you will, or like whether it's skill set or confidence or emotion?
yeah, so for myself, I think just tapping into like my personal development, and being the best person that I can be for me, and doing things that make me happy, and knowing that I'm deserving of happiness in certain things, and I want to have my children know that you know, I'm a strong, independent person, and that's important, and that it's okay, you know, versus people viewing it as selfishness, or I strive to want my children to see that I'm trying to give them the best life that I can give them, but at the same time not sacrificing everything just for that, you know, just to be a better person through it,
like through that process, and tapping into who you really are. And that's something I really admire about you, is like you are living your passion, like you have a really strong why. And if you're an entrepreneur, I know you talk about your why probably a lot, but it's really important to know why you're doing what you do, because that's what's going to keep you doing it, and that's what's going to keep you fulfilled. So like I feel like you have a really strong why, and I feel really like that you get to see some sweetness that we all don't get to see every day. Like you get to have a really unique experience. So my kind of, it won't be the last question or last information, but I want to ask you, I had written down a question. What is your most impactful memory? Like what impacted you the most, like a client? What's the, like something that just kind of has rested in your soul from doing this type of work?
I've had a couple of clients that really, really reiterated my why. I had one woman who, it was on her bucket list. Every year she did something that scared her, made her feel more alive, to celebrate herself. And this was like her third year of doing it, and I was her third bucket list. And she was so nervous and very vulnerable. And I felt completely honored that somebody would entrust me and chose me to do this for her. So things like that. And just, I'll get teary-eyed, like people, when they see their imagery, and sometimes they'll cry, and I feel like, you know what, I'm doing a good thing.
You're doing sacred work.
Right. You know what, and it might not be viewed that way by everyone, but I know that I'm doing good work.
It made me almost like I'm sitting here recounting it, and I'm like almost in tears because I feel what you're saying these people have felt. Like I did feel that way.
And yeah, and it's to have that impact on another human being is huge. It's memorable. Like, it's why I do what I do. Yeah.
That's so cool. So we have a little special announcement. So Stephanie's been generous enough. If you're in the New England area, her studio is out of Upton, Massachusetts, and you're interested in her services and having a shoot done, we're going to give away 3 gift certificates. She's opted to do $100 towards your session. So that's an amazing offering, and thank you for making it available. The only thing you have to do is to just jot down your favorite takeaway from today's video. And this will be open from now until midnight tonight. So we're going to repost on other social media outlets, that kind of thing, to get more comments and feedback from today. But it was a very rich interview, I feel like, with you. Like I took away a lot, and even just like the talk before that we had, like before the interview there, you get to go to lunch and stuff like that. So it was just like a soulful day for me, and I so appreciate it. So what I need you to do is to comment what your takeaway was. It could be anything. It could be as simple as, I'm going to try this, to I really found it interesting about confidence, or what your experience was in a prior shoot. Anything that you can post here to start some comments, and then you'll be entered into the drawing for 3 gift certificates that we'll draw for $100 to the Pouting Room in Upton, Massachusetts.
I'm excited to hear what people have to say.
I know, me too. Yay!
And I think the fact that, I have made some really good relationships with previous clients, and I wouldn't have met you otherwise. Right. And yeah, I've met some phenomenal women, and you're one of them.
That's what I didn't tell you at the beginning, was I only met you through your photography. Like, it wasn't like we were friends first and then you're going to shoot for me. It was because of, I met you, I had a great experience, and now we've stayed in touch. And so it's not just one and done. That's what I was going to say. One and done. Ciao, baby. No, it's very much, you can maintain and create amazing friendships, because it is very meaningful work, I feel like. So it doesn't surprise me at all.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you for doing this and sharing your insights. And absolutely. I feel like you're a very, like, I don't know, you have like a little secrets in your heart. Little gems in your heart of these experiences. So thank you for making it possible for so many people to reflect on their inner beauty as well as their outer beauty. I think both are relevant, and you do both. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
All right, bye for now. We'll repost, and we'll see you soon.